Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope is every. I hope everybody's having a blessed day. We're back again to talk about some sports, mainly football. I'm turning the music down. So we're just gonna talk. I know we're what few days, basically a week is some change after the draft, but it's okay. But we just gonna have a show, just chopping it up and discussing what we think of this year's draft, 2023 draft. And I have here Coach 67 Sports TV. How you doing, brother? Can you hear me? The backwoods got him. Brent Fox, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks you for showing up, man. I know you're a busy man. JB, how you doing, my brother?
What's up, man? Blessed to be here, man.
That's good to hear, man. So we just gonna chop it up, fellas. Have an open forum about what we think about this year's draft, man, and we can talk about other stuff in between. But um, that's what we're gonna chop it up about today. Because I can't wait to talk about, especially when we get to who had the worst draft. It's my lord. And I might eat crow. Some of the coaches behind the scenes may know what they need, but some certain picks I'm like, why? Houseway. You know what I mean? So
yeah, boy. When we get to that one, boy,
I'm telling you.
I have one team in mind that I know messes up all the time. I'm sure I'm sure that y'all pretty much know too. But man,
yes.
Yeah, I ain't gonna give the game away now, man. But I can't wait to get started on them.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you, man. But first of all, what did you think about the 2023 draft this year? I know a previous show coach said he didn't like how they was walking had them walking like took a long time to walk to the stage, like they was what did coach say? When he come back, I'm gonna ask him. He had us rolling.
Like they was going to the boxing ring or something.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Actually, I thought
they had a ring walk.
Yeah, a ring walk. Actually, I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know. What up, coach? You back?
Coach, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear y'all now. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, third time's the charm.
That's all right. Well, we were just talking about the first topic. What we think of the 2023 draft. And I was bringing up how on another show you said you didn't like them taking a long time getting to the front of the stage, like they would walk to the boxing ring.
Yeah. I mean, they started out in the back, and they showing like, I mean, just imagine, you watching the fight. We're just gonna use, for example, Canelo and John Ryder. They literally show Canelo sitting in the locker room and this, that, and the third, and they call Canelo name, and Canelo shake everybody in his locker room hand, everybody locker room, and then you show literally him walk from the dressing room to the ring, and essentially that's what it was. And I'm like, bro, I know you're trying to add some production value, but I don't see the benefit of doing this whatsoever. Made no sense to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Me personally, I liked it. I thought, that walking to the ring, I used to be a wrestling fan, growing up. So it reminded me of that, like Goldberg or somebody, Booker T walking to the stage. So that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I was a wrestling fan too. I mean, Goldberg might be the long exception, but just imagine even like, I know I'm a little bit older than you, so just imagine Hulk Hogan at his height. I mean, we used to
Right.
love to watch Hulk Hogan walk to the ring, but you didn't see Hulk Hogan sitting in the locker room, shaking Jimmy Hart, whoever might have been his manager. Well, when he was in WWF, he didn't have a manager. Him shaking everybody in the locker room's hand, and then you literally showing him walk from the dressing room to the ring. I'm not just talking about once he come through the curtain. I'm talking about literally from inside the locker room for like 5 minutes, and then him walking from the locker room to the ring. No, they didn't show that. That was excessive. So I think Goldberg might be the long exception of where it was a bit of a production, and he had this aura of invincibility. So as a result, you wanted to see all the behind the scenes things with him, but you didn't want to see that for every wrestler. Even wrestlers that were arguably more popular, arguably more popular. Even Hulk Hogan at his prime, he was considerably more popular when Goldberg was at his height. But at the same token, you didn't want to see that much behind the scenes. You just wanted to see him walk through the curtain to the ring. You didn't want to see him literally in the locker room shaking everybody's hand.
I hear you. I just, just seeing them, just seeing them young men walking. I'm saying young man like I'm old, but just seeing them brothers, man, just walk up and they dream that has finally been, it's finally coming true, that they've been thinking about since, Pee Wee football, man, and just seeing the joy on their face, man. And all them haters that said they was gonna make it, man. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for that, but I hear you, Coach. I hear you. All them haters that said they wasn't gonna make it, they gotta see them get drafted by an NFL squad. Man, Brent, what did you think about the festivities at the 2023 NFL draft?
I think that they were trying to do something different, but to me, it was pretty much more of the same. I know that the presentation was different, but it's the same daggum draft. It's not. It wasn't anything new to me or anything like that, man. It was the same old draft. It was just presented differently. It's like getting the same socks or whatever you get for Father's Day. It's just wrapped in a different box, man. That's all it is.
Oh, so you trying to say it's like Madden?
Pretty much, man. I mean, it's really nothing different.
Mm.
But but to what you're saying though, I would say that yes, it is a very emotional and life-changing moment for those young men that were blessed enough to be chosen to play in a league full of the best players in the entire world. I mean, that's a very high honor that very few people get to achieve and then get to experience, man. So, I mean, shout outs to them for that, because they're very. I can testify to this. Even though I didn't make it in the NFL, I do have some. Even with the way that I've worked, I have some idea, some bearing of what sacrifice you have to make in your social life and all of that to try to get to that particular level. There are very, very early mornings and then late evenings and stuff like that where you're working on ball drills, you out there running, you out there looking crazy by yourself, just running routes, and if you're on the line or whatever, you're practicing getting out of your stances, hand placement, foot movement, all of that.
Right.
Most of the time, you're doing that by yourself. um, because you don't have the luxury of having somebody out there that's gonna actually just be training you during that time. Like it is very time consuming and it's very hard work. So again, shout out to those exceptional young men
Yes,
that
sir.
have the ability and the will and the skill to get out there and make it happen.
Yes, sir. I wholeheartedly agree. Well said, Brent. JB, what you think?
Well, first of all, I would say the NFL draft to me was lovely because we signed Lamar Jackson. So
Yeah, we Baltimore Ravens fans. Go ahead, JB.
you know what I'm saying. So after that, I just sat back with with a cup of coffee and some you know with some treats and sat back and enjoyed it. I mean, I knew we was getting a receiver. We got a receiver, and there was a couple of questionable ones, but um, the Ravens drafted, players the Ravens drafted.
But save it for that topic. But you say the overall draft festivities, it was pretty
It was
decent.
okay. It was pretty decent. I mean, I see like the gentleman said, the the WrestleMania ring walk and all that. That was kind of much. But other than that, the highlight of my NFL draft is when that day we signed Lamar Jackson. So that was good.
Okay. You know what I like? One of the things I like the trash talk when the what's that Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Cowboys?
Oh, you talking about Drew Pearson?
He always come out talking smack. I love that, man. And then
Yeah,
there was some other
he
few
did that.
people.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying there was him and there was some other few people talk, throwing little shots at their rival teams. You know what I mean? So the little stuff like that, I loved it. For the past 2-3 years in the drafts, it has been happening, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. He did. He's made that his thing ever since he was in Philadelphia when they did the draft, and they
Mhm.
started booing him when he started announcing the draft pick. So now he's taken that and he's made himself like known for antagonizing the crowd and then getting them to boo or whatever as they make the draft pick. That's why you talk about all the Super Bowl rings and all of that. It's to antagonize the crowd. So he took something like that and embraced it and turned it into something else. I love it.
I love it too. I definitely love it. It's very entertaining. But okay, I love you guys' feedback on that. Now, let's go to another topic. I'm gonna start with Coach. Who had the worst draft overall?
I mean, bro, they got a few candidates for who had the worst draft. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, they got certain individual like picks that I didn't like, but in terms of who had the worst draft, uh, I'll probably say maybe. I'm trying to think. Uh, I wasn't a huge fan of a team like the Arizona Cardinals. I wasn't a huge fan of theirs. Uh, I definitely wasn't a huge fan of the Atlanta Falcons grade, but I think I'm a bit of a homer because they're a division rival. So of course I'm not gonna like anything they do. So a team like the Falcons, I wasn't thrilled. I probably gave them like in terms of my personal draft grades. I think they got probably one of the lower grades. So I say the Falcons stand out first and foremost. Uh, you know, I hate to say it. Hopefully they continue to struggle moving into the future. 'Cause they're, they're a division rival. But I mean, overall, I'll probably say they're the team that I think kind of sticks out the worst in terms of like y'all struggling a franchise at this point. I mean, y'all don't have a franchise quarterback. Y'all don't have a Mike Vick. Y'all don't have a Matt Ryan. And it just kind of seems as if from an organizational standpoint, they really don't have any real guidance or real direction. So hopefully they continue to sputter. They continue to go down the wrong road. So I'll probably say off the top of my head, the team that I could think of, I'll probably say the Atlanta Falcons. Now, in terms of just like individual picks, the kid, what his name is, Levis.
Will
I was a
Levis.
big fan of that particular pick. Will Levis, yeah, I wasn't a fan of that pick. But in terms of like just overall grades, I'll probably say team that stands out to me the most, probably say the Atlanta Falcons. I gave them the worst grade.
Atlanta Falcons. Okay, I thought they did all right. They addressed the offensive line. The offensive line with doodles. I think as far as quarterback, I think they're going to try to put stuff behind the young boy from Cincinnati. I'm blanking on his name. Don't nobody tell me.
Yeah, I know you're talking, but I'm gonna be honest with you, bro.
Desmond Ritter.
He's not that guy. He's not that guy. I mean,
well, how he
he's
doesn't have
not
to
that
be
guy,
that
bro.
guy.
I mean,
If he has a decent. He can throw some decent balls. They just need to find some decent. They already got London Drake. So a wide receiver of his caliber is perfect for a quarterback like him. Now, is he a comeback behind type quarterback? Most likely not. But if you get the weapons around him where they can, get a decent lead, I think he can manage the game pretty well. That's my opinion as far as Desmond Ritter.
I mean,
So I think that's why they ain't really
in my
address
opinion,
quarterback like that.
in my opinion, he like a poor man's version of Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kirk Cousins himself ain't that guy to me. But to get a poor man's version of Kirk Cousins, I mean, I think he might have a stronger arm than Kirk Cousins, but in terms of quarterbacks I have to make a comparison to, I think that's the guy he kind of reminds me of. So I think that was the most glaring need. I mean, even if you'd have kept him and try to move up for someone like, even though Bryce Young and CJ Stroud might have been out of your price range, even if you'd have went and got someone like Anthony Richardson and let him sit behind him for a couple of years, I would say, all right, cool. So the fact that you don't have that guy in the building, and you might have added weapons around him, but in terms of you just saying, hey, we're gonna roll with him, I mean, I'm happy they did it, so I'm not complaining,
I hear you. Brandon Brazil in the chat said Jacksonville. Y'all think Jacksonville had a bad draft, fellas? They drafted Anton Harrison, tackle from Oklahoma. I ain't think that was a bad. They drafted Brenton Strange, tight end, because they lost a tight end, and they drafted some linebackers in the defensive end. I don't think they had the worst draft. Brandon, put in the chat why you think that. But did anybody agree?
No.
No, I don't think they had the worst draft. They had an uneventful one, but I don't think it was just god awful bad.
Because you gotta remember, they're a couple of pieces away from where they need to be a competitive football team. So I mean,
yeah, they did. They did drag themselves into the playoffs last year
and upset the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Sure did.
I see what he's saying. He said no impact players at all.
Though. I think it was deep.
Okay.
Yeah, I
okay.
kind of feel the same way, but the fact is, so I see why he has that mindset. Me personally, I gave him a C plus, so I kind of gave them slightly above what I gave the Falcons. So I agree with the premise behind what he's saying. I mean, I don't agree with it across the board, but I kind of understand where he's coming from.
Okay. Okay. Brent, who you think had the worst draft overall?
Ooh-wee. Now, traditionally, the Raiders always have a horrible draft,
Right.
but I don't think that it was as horrible as the Washington Commanders.
Wow. Explain.
Okay, the reason that I'm saying that is because of the personnel that they actually picked. Okay, like in the first round, you knew that it was going to get off to a bad start when they drafted it was a smallish cornerback from I believe Mississippi State, when Joey Porter Jr. and Christian Gonzalez, who was the best cornerback on the board, were skipped because they picked this little guy from Mississippi State.
Hold on now, Emmanuel Forbes. I know who you're talking about, and I'm sorry for cutting you out. He remind me of like a little Aaron Glenn type. You know, it's small, but they can make up for it, and you know, being that ball hawk or no good coverage. But I see what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, he gets turnovers. That's what I was getting to. He does get turnovers, man. But if you look at everything else that he's actually doing, like it's feast or famine with Ford. He's either gonna make you a big play or he's gonna surrender a big play. Go back and look at like the LSU game or even the Ole Miss game. Now the Ole Miss game, he did get like a turnover, I believe, if I remember that correctly. But he also got beat down the field like for a 37-yard gain, and then he got beat again trying to get a turnover later on in the game. So it's feast or famine with him, and then with his dimensions, man, really you could just throw pick plays and all kinds of stuff at him to kind of eliminate him being aggressive or throw double moves. And
I like his aggressiveness like though, and shout out to Sip the Tally because he pointed. You know, sometimes he gambles and he loses bad. But go ahead, Brent. You're right.
Yeah, but see, yeah, that's what I was getting to. Like he's a gambler, but if he wins, great. But if he loses, it is bad, and it is game-changing bad.
So he's basically a Marcus Peters.
A small Marcus Peters, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay. All right, the Washington Commanders for Brent. JB, who had the worst draft overall in your opinion?
The Detroit Lions.
You took mine. Okay.
Mm.
They already had DeAndre Swift. They traded DeAndre Swift to get a guy, Jamar Gibbs. And here's the thing about Alabama running backs, right? They either gonna be really good or really bad. Okay. No in between. You either gonna get a Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, or you might get a Trent Richardson. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't like that pick because they already had a running back. To me, there was multiple choices they could have went.
You better mention the other pick the first round pick they did that messed me up.
Jack Campbell.
No, that's okay. Najee Harris, I'll help you out.
Yeah. See? Najee Harris, there you go.
No in between.
But see, to be fair, and I know you're still a fan, you hard on him, but I'm gonna give him a pass on Najee Harris because y'all offensive line wasn't that good.
It has been an offensive line like the Steelers of old.
Like when y'all had Willie Parker and all them back, Rashad Mendenhall, all them boys. So this year, I think Coach Tomlin is building up because y'all got that big tight end from Georgia. Y'all giving him some space where he can work. Y'all trying to improve the O-line so y'all can get that running game going so all the pressure won't be on Two Gloves. What's y'all quarterback name from Pittsburgh? I forgot. Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
See, so I don't. So that's why I'm not gonna get on Najee so hard. But after this year, get on his ass. If he don't produce like he's supposed to this year, get on him because he ain't
Now
gonna have no
remember,
excuse this year.
you're right. Now remember, he still rushed for 1,000 yards with that bad offensive line last year, and then our line, the
Hmm.
line this past year, we didn't start off so great, but when we started hitting that like winning streak, that's like when we started hitting winning streaks and wound up winning 7 games at the end of the season.
Hmm.
That's because the run game for the offensive line had picked up by then.
Right.
We started gaining momentum, and then we were able to run the ball more effectively. I think we'll pick up off that momentum, and it. To be honest with you, with the new pieces that we actually have, we may start off a little slow because we always do, and then I think as the season goes on, like probably like maybe the 5th or 6th game in the season, I think we'll pick up our stride then as far as like the run blocking for the O line, and it's gonna be literally all downhill from there.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna wish anything good on the Steelers, but you
I
know,
know you're not. I'm just letting you know, just in case, y'all come across us, and it's usually around Christmas time. So, when we hand you some coal in y'all stockings this year, you'll understand. I laid it out for you. There you go.
that's yeah, because Mike Tomlin, yeah, he'll lose to a bad team and play us tough. Ain't that a bitch? But that's how
You know how it goes.
NFC AFC North games is. But yeah, Jamari Gibbs, terrible. I don't think that. I think DeAndre Swift had a couple of more years in him. We don't know what Jamar Gibbs is yet, so I hope he's
And how
good.
how you get rid of Jamal Williams too?
I
Oh,
don't
they
know.
got rid of Jamal Williams too?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
the
That
They
kid.
wasn't
got
very smart.
got rid of their two-headed monster.
That's the guy that got you all the
Hey, we
touchdowns. You
glad to
don't
have
want
him
to
in
get
New
rid
Orleans.
of that guy. He finds the end zone for you. Oh well.
What you say, Coach?
Hold up, Brent Fox. We glad to have him in New Orleans. I said we glad to have him in New Orleans.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
y'all
So
got him. Okay. Well,
oh
congratulations.
that case he gonna do terrible
Yeah,
there.
you.
But
Ah.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
nah,
Put
you
the
know
guns
what?
up. Put the guns up.
You know, New Orleans usually keep good running back, so he's probably going. I love talking shit with the homies, but Jack Campbell, and this is Coach Sip to Tally. This is where we watch.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him. We
Watch
watch his
film.
film.
Watch film. Watch his film. One of the best.
He
Him.
said,
Go ahead.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Watch his film. He breaks everything down about certain plays. Him, football game plan, um,
All 22
all
NFL 22.
all
E- Edgar
all
Allen.
yeah, Edgar Allen, all people like that with not just their favorite teams, but they break down certain players. So that's how you can know about especially before the draft. But if y'all still want to see certain perspectives on these players and how they play and they film, those are the channels you need to tune in and watch. Because Jack Campbell isn't really that impressive to me. I know he won the Dick Buckets Award for the best linebacker last year, but I'm not. But Joshua, go ahead and cook on that. I'll give my input afterwards.
I mean, based on the film, he get washed. You know what I'm saying? And
Explain what
for the
that
middle
means.
line,
You being a defensive player, you may have people
he
that don't
can't
know
get
what
off.
it means.
He can't get off blocks like that. He more of a see ball, get ball type of guy. You know what I'm saying? He can make plays. He can make plays, but as far as uh us being in and maybe just because I'm an AFC North type of guy. That's why I was trying to tell Brent that Najee Harris is gonna be okay. Um, because like he said during when it gets wintertime, that's when people stop tackling and nobody don't want to tackle him. And guys like Jack Campbell is gonna bounce off of him. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
he can't get off blocks. Um, he struggles in the gap. You know, he's not a to me he's not a side to side linebacker like that. So maybe I can be wrong. And to be honest, to be fair, since we talking about it, Coach said the same thing about the boy we picked in the second round, the Simpson boy we
Trent,
picked from Clemson,
Trenton
Trent
Simpson.
Simpson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Coach said that he can't get off blocks like that. He's not a middle linebacker. He if you want to put him in the slot, he plays a little DB. If you want to rush him off the edge, you can. But in the middle linebacker, he's gonna get washed.
So pretty much we need to hold on to Patrick Queen as long as we can.
Yeah. So
He's not replacing Patrick Queen, basically that's what you're saying.
no, because they the same type of player. But Patrick Queen has improved. Go ahead, Coach.
Send him to New Orleans.
Who?
You ain't getting he ain't going to New Orleans and that's final, Coach.
Man, Patrick ain't going to no New Orleans.
Put him and Demario Davis together and guess what? Man, hey. We'll take him in New Orleans.
Hey, we'll give him to you.
Something with him, you know. Y'all ain't doing that.
I tell you what, if you give us Michael Thomas and what's the running back name? Kamara, you got a damn deal.
Dude, Kamara might be suspended half the year if he lucky. And y'all definitely can have Mike Thomas. Hey, I'll send it to you now. I mean that.
I disagree. I ain't nobody want his broke up ass.
I'll make that trade right now.
I mean,
don't get me wrong, he a beast.
No, that's what he wanted. Hey, you can have it, baby.
Listen, we only need him for half the year anyway. All he gonna do is block mostly. And we just need him as a red zone threat when we get in the red zone. You know what I'm saying? So we'll take him. I really want Kamara. So Michael Thompson is just Thomas is just something to throw in with the deal. But however, that's to get back on topic. That's my worst draft class. Is the Detroit Lions. I didn't like their draft class. And like we said, this is all opinionated. So we might be wrong. I might be wrong, but yeah.
Okay. The reason why I picked the Detroit Lions is because I felt like, first of all, like JB said, they could have kept DeAndre Swift, so they're kind of chancing it with Jamari Gibbs, and Jack Campbell, and I think he played a little bit of middle linebacker at Iowa, and he's 6'5", 246 pounds.
Yes, sir.
You know who he remind me of? I'm gonna take y'all back to 2005. That's when I was very young. We were very young. Y'all remember Dan Cody from Oklahoma?
Oh, you gonna put him
6'5".
Yeah, you wrong as hell.
Come on, man. You gonna turn him
Dan Cody.
You already gonna give him a big goofy label already, man. I got hope. Yeah, I have hope for Campbell. I'm not gonna lie.
You say Terrence Cody?
No, Dan Cody.
No, Dan Cody. He was a linebacker from Oklahoma.
Oh. I thought you was talking about Terrence Cody.
Yeah, Coach. needless to say, he didn't turn out to be very good. So that's messed up. That is messed up. I just keep thinking about him just getting washed all the time.
I mean, he got
Oh
all.
my
I
god.
mean, and you got to think about it. Dan Cody got all that. He was first team All Big 12, 03 and 04, right?
Mm.
But well, he didn't win the Dick Buckets Award. So who? I mean, like I said, I could be eating Chrome Jack Campbell. He might fit in,
Cause you know
but
what's scary? I'm gonna just put, hey, man, hell with it. I'm gonna put it. I'm just gonna put it out there, cause it's an inside joke with Sip the Tally and the rest of the brothers, the other that are Baltimore Ravens fan. Whenever you got a white athlete that's not, he can tackle and can't really do nothing else. They say, well, he's a football player. So when they trying to sell you him, oh, he's a football. He can't run, he can't tackle, he's slow as hell, but he's a football player. Whenever I be watching ESPN and I hear those analysts say that, my eyebrows raise. I'm like, no, don't draft him, don't draft him. And the Lions went for it. So, and we might be wrong, cause this guy ain't no Brian Urlacher or nothing like that. Um, or no Zach Thomas. But again, we can't be wrong. I just, by looking at some of his tape, I'm not a fan.
well, hope some of the coaching can figure it out.
Oh god. I'm looking at Marquise Pouncey to just watch him. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. I'm I'm gonna quit, man. I'm gonna quit.
Everybody got that they feel on this topic.
Yes.
All right, I'm moving on. Who had the best NFL drafts in your opinion? Coach, I'm coming to you first.
Don't say the Saints.
Bro, that's easy. That's easy for me. Hell no. Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, you took mine.
Damn.
Philadelphia Eagles had the best draft. I mean, getting Carter, getting those two defensive players in the first round. I think it solidified their defense probably for
Yeah.
minimum of the next 5 years. So I was thoroughly
Okay.
impressed with their draft. Of course, I wanted Carter to fall to the Saints. I knew there was no way he was going to fall that far. But the fact that the Eagles moved up and got him, and then they turned around and got the linebacker later on in the draft. So, yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles, their defense is going to be solidified probably for the next 5 years minimum with those two picks, you know.
All right, brother Brent.
Oh man. Um. Shit, it's hard to follow that Eagles act, man. Cause yeah, they definitely had the
Yeah, they was
best
on my
draft.
board too. I ain't gonna lie. For the who had one of the
Um.
best drafts.
Whew. Okay, so I think who may have had a solid draft, but this is gonna open up a door for a whole nother argument. I believe, okay, and I'm excluding the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not gonna name us. Um, I think who actually had a pretty solid draft um, was the Atlanta Falcons. They got they got an all-purpose running back who could actually help them win and or sustain games. Just basically meaning that they can run the clock out on you now. They have a very impact back that can come out of the backfield and catch passes for you on critical downs, making the quarterback's job easier and not putting so much stress on them. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they also got some guys on defense, and then they also got like a receiving threat to try to help them out. So I think that they pretty much had a good haul. I would say that they were the best, but I think that they did better than expected.
All right, so there I see where you may be butting the head with Coach. Because Coach said on the other um slide that basically the Atlanta Falcons had the worst. So you disagree
Hmm.
with Coach?
Yeah, in that aspect of it, not, and I understand why. I mean, Atlanta's in a division. You don't want to see them do good. I'm not going to say that the Baltimore Ravens had a great draft, so I get it. Even though if you look at who y'all picked up, if you look at it objectively, the Baltimore Ravens had a good draft, and that's all. That's the one time you're gonna
Agreed.
get that out of me.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. So the Falcons had Falcons had a better than expected draft. I think they made better than expected decisions as far as picking up personnel that they need.
Okay.
Bro, Brent Fox, you already know that the Eagles had the best draft. You could have just said, "Hey, I agree with Coach," and just keep it real. The Falcons had a trash draft.
I started off saying that, man. I said how I'm gonna follow up with the Eagles, so I had to pick somebody that drafted better than expected because the obvious answer was already given. Wasn't nothing else I could do, Coach. Dude, I had
I
to
feel
run
you,
a
Brent Fox.
bootleg,
I feel
man.
you,
I
Coach.
I had to run a bootleg. Sorry.
Well, I can see why you ran that play. I definitely understand. JB, who had the best draft overall?
I think it's the Indianapolis Colts.
You
Hmm.
explain why.
That's also a good.
The reason why I like what they did, man. First of all, they got Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is going to a team that they got a good football team, but they don't have a good. They didn't have a good quarterback for the
Right.
last couple of years.
Right.
For the last couple of years, so
Since Andrew Luck left, yeah.
Andrew Luck. So Andrew Luck dipped out on them. Said, "Nah, y'all, I'm too broke up. Um, I'm out." They've been suffering. They've been had, you know, what's his name? Brissett, Jacoby Brissett. They didn't kick the tires off of Phillip Rivers.
I like
They
Brissett
didn't.
personally.
I did too. I told um my pops is a Indianapolis Colts fan, and I told him that they would have been done better keeping Jacoby Brissett, because Rivers is not that a quarterback like he used to. He's more of a game manager, just like Brissett. So you're getting the same quarterback, and I think Brissett can run a little bit, and Phillip Rivers is, walking and running in mud. So, and then I don't know why they got Carson Wentz. And they went on the winning streak, and then they went on the losing streak at the end of the season. So they got knocked out the playoffs, and that football team was loaded with talent.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz just threw them out the playoffs, or played them out the playoffs. Then they went with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is washed. You know what I'm saying? He played terrible last year. So Anthony Richardson coming into a situation, man, where he has Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is basically what Jacoby Brissett is. He's a backup quarterback. He can, by himself, if somebody get hurt or if Anthony Richardson is not ready, he can win you 5 games by himself, and he can. But he's not the type of quarterback you're gonna keep him in the full 18 game season. He's a true backup quarterback, but he's a good backup quarterback because he can win you games. He remind me of like a Chase Daniels. So, and not Philip, but Anthony Richardson can learn from him. Then I like what they did in the second round with Julius Brents, getting them a corner. Um,
Big corner.
big
Mm-hmm.
corner, and he can ball. Um, um, from what I see at over there down there in Kansas State. Then he got my boy Tar
Josh
Heel,
Downs.
Josh Downs. To me, he's the most underrated receiver in the nation. He can do it all from the North Carolina Tar Heels. Um, he's got a game like the boy we just drafted in the first round. Um,
Zay.
Zay
Zay Flowers.
Say Flowers. He got that type of game. He's fast. He's not that fast, but he got that quickness where he can catch it, make you miss, and then burn you for 30 yards. He's just like Zay Flowers. Um, then I think the fourth round they got Blake Freeland, offensive tackle. I don't know too much about him out of BYU. Then they got this dude. I'm not gonna pronounce his name. He got that African name. From Northwestern, Beast. I've seen him play. He is a beast. I think, in my opinion, is a replacement for DeForest Buckner. They got DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner is a beast, but he's getting up there. The contract is running out, and I think he is the future for when they let go of DeForest Buckner. Then they got this
Playing beside
boy,
School. Yeah.
and then they got this boy Darius Rush. Now I slept on the South Carolina Gamecocks. The South Carolina Gamecocks had two-headed monster in corners. They
Last
had
year, yeah.
they had Cam, that boy named Cam. Um, what's that boy named Cam something? And then it was him. There's Rush. They used to lock people down on defense. It's just they couldn't stop the run. So they got them corners. So I like what the Indianapolis coach did,
Cam
getting
Smith.
two corners. Cam Smith, thank you, Jared. So they had Darius Rush and Cam Smith. So Darius Rush is a good cornerback. He's going to be probably the third or fourth corner, maybe a starter in the future. I like what the Indianapolis coach did, especially them losing Stevens. What's the cornerback name that they had last year? He was like the best cornerback in the league.
He small, but he can ball. I forgot his name.
So they replaced him at corner, and the rest I don't know. I think the first and second night of the draft, the Indianapolis Colts had an underrated, great draft.
You ain't talking about Kenny Moore, are you? I think Kenny Moore. Oh, Gilmore.
No,
Gilmore.
thank you. They had Stephon Gilmore. They had him and Stephon Gilmore. So I think they're gonna have Kenny Moore and some young boys behind him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think this was a good draft for them.
Very good draft.
And I think looking at Anthony Richardson, and just to speak on him, he has that type of he might be he do some Jameis Winston-ish type stuff where he can make the type of throws you like, man, damn, he a beast. Then he'll make some throws like, why the hell he throw that? So as far as the passing department, but from what I understand, the Florida Gators was in shambles last year. They had coaches going in and out the program, getting fired, not consistent. They had to learn plays because the coaches were getting fired. He didn't really have weapons like that in Florida. So they said this kid is really good. It's just what he was around last year. So
we
we'll
gonna see.
see. And plus, the boy can run. So him being fast like that, you
And
know what I'm
being big
saying?
as he is.
If he get like if he play like a field a Justin Fields where he might not can make all the throw yet, but his feet can get him out of trouble and set the offense up and get the defense some rest. The Colts might be a team to look at next year. So
Okay. All right. Well, my pick, and thank you, Brandon Bazell, for putting. We've got Stephon Gilmore name, and Brandon Bazell in the chat also pointed out some team that had a pretty decent draft that we could also say that they could be up there as the best draft. He said the Houston Texans, just with their first rounders alone, with C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. And then they got Tank Dell, former HBCU player. They got Juke Scruggs, center. I don't know about Dylan Horton from TSU. How that TSU defense got raped in the championship game, I don't know about that. Alabama linebacker Henry To'otu, that's a pretty good. So yeah, they had a pretty decent draft, man. So you can say that for the Houston Texans, but we'll see, man. And one thing I want to ask you guys, who had the best draft pick in 2020? So who had the best? I know you say overall, but which team just with that one pick alone said they got it? That position they don't have to worry about. And you can't say the Eagles.
Okay, does it are you talking about maybe the first rounder, or are you talking about somebody maybe later on who
it could be the first round, 1 through 7, where it could be a player that was drafted in the third round and you think, you know what, he's gonna ball out in that position. It could be anything. Of course, the first round, but it could be any player, no matter what round.
Okay.
Starting with Coach.
I would say, honestly, even though it's gonna take some time, I would actually go with the Bryce Young pick. I felt that he filled a huge need, and that particular pick is gonna solidify their offense for some years to come. So I think quarterbacks at the top of the draft, many instances teams reach and they overrated, but I think that was a good pick.
Okay. Bryce Young, I think I picked him to be one of the best quarterback in the draft over Anthony Richardson and C.J. Stroud. So I agree with you, Coach. Brother Brent.
Okay. Well, the answer I'm about to give is pretty much going to make me mad because I hate this team. I think it's the New England Patriots because they were able to secure Christian Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think for that particular value, they got a steal. And if he turns into Todd Law, man, I'm gonna be so pissed. I'm gonna be pissed. But yeah, I think overall, the New England Patriots got like
Todd Law. That's a
Gonzalez.
compliment. Todd Law in our generation, growing up, was the cornerback. Like
That's what I'm saying. That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
JB, he's going in and out. I don't know. JB, who was your pick? As far as who, which team had that one player that you was like, basically, they got it.
Houston with C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
Some of the throws he made, like you can tell, right? And we'll see. And I could be wrong. Just some of the throws he made um, in college. He's a pro football player. You know.
Mm.
So and I think he can be really good or he can be really bad. But I'm kind of scared to take this pick and make this opinion because historically, Ohio State QBs don't do all that great in the NFL. So we'll see.
Except for that boy over there in Cincinnati,
Who?
Come on, Burrow.
Burrow. Yeah. No, he was at
Burrow's at-
Ohio
Well,
State
technically, yeah.
first, and then he went to LSU. My bad.
Technically,
Yeah, he went to LSU.
So dang, yeah, you're right.
Obviously.
Ohio State can't have
he
nothing.
really got development. Yeah, because technically he got the development at LSU. Because if you told me he was gonna be what he became his senior year after what he did his junior year, I'd have been like, man, you smoking dope. And guess what?
Right.
He was a beast his senior year at LSU, and he beast ever since. So I don't know why you still really can't take credit for that.
Okay.
And I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, so I got to throw some hate in there. And keep in mind, both college and NFL, he had the best receivers in college and some of the best receivers in the NFL. I'm just saying. So, I mean,
Mhm.
just throwing that out there,
Yes,
That's true.
sir. He did have help.
I got two picks on my end. I got the Buffalo Bills with Dalton Kincaid. They gave not just they gave him some help in the tight end position. Knox is a good player, but Dalton Kincaid is a fast tight end that can get open. So other than Diggs and the other wide receiving core that helps
I know you're talking about. It's number 13. I know
yeah,
who
number
you're talking
13.
about.
Yes. So they're going to give their quarterback some help, man. I'm really liking that Dalton Kincaid pick. I think Josh Allen gonna have fun with Dalton Kincaid. Sorry to say, but I hope we shut him down if we ever run into each other. And I hate to say it, they're in division round, conference rival, of course. Is I liked what the Cincinnati Bengals did picking Miles Murphy edge for Clemson because they already got two beats. They already got Hendrickson and the other guy from Ohio State that's on the other end. And then you got this young boy coming up behind him. So that
Talking about
they
Hubbard?
both Sam Hubbard. So, and then you got this young, Sam Hubbard. Yep. Talking about Sam Hubbard. Yep. So now you got Miles Murphy coming right behind him, young bull. So that defensive line gonna be something, especially on the edge. It's gonna
Miles
be
Murphy ain't gonna be nothing.
Well, damn. Explain, Joe.
I think he's gonna be a good run stopper and everything, but he's not gonna be all that, man. Matter of fact, he might do good with some help. He might be okay with some help. I think if that's what you're saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm not saying. He gonna be Pro Bowler or even get up to past 5 sacks his first year, which is very possible with his talent. But with those supporting cast, them type players that you're supporting cast, you're gonna eat a little bit. You're gonna eat off the plate.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he can eat off the plate, with some, with him having a supporting cast with him. But he was a good player, great player in college. But I think it's the structure. He ate off the structure of that Clemson defense because there was a lot of good defensive players on that Clemson defense. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, some games he was beasting, and some games he disappeared. So we'll see.
Again, Sip, the tally showed us this.
Yep.
Man. Okay. All right. Man. Good conversation, fellas. Good conversation. Anybody watch that Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo MMA fight?
Nah, I missed that, brother.
It was
Good fight. It was a good fight.
Aljamain won. That was a pretty decent fight. I ain't gonna lie, I thought Henry Cejudo was gonna win with him being the better wrestler.
I slept on Sterling wrestling, man. His wrestling is good, man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, did he win by submission, knockout, or
split decision? It was a
okay.
back and forth. It was just two wrestlers jockeying for a position, and it was some pretty good striking too.
Oh, okay.
And we ain't even gonna mention that
one of those
Canelo
fights where
fight.
you had to. Oh, sorry.
No, you good, Brent. Go ahead.
So it was one of those fights. If you knew what you was looking at, you could appreciate it.
There you go.
Okay, gotcha.
And like 78 said in the past, what I like about MMA, they'll explain to you what you're looking at. Other than boxing people, this is boring. They'll say this is boring. Well, if you got two people that's got awkward, styles, it's gonna be boring. Why don't you explain to the audience what they're looking at?
Because they can't. A lot of
Exactly.
those
Yeah,
guys are
HBO
broadcasters
championship
from other
boxing.
sports, and they don't really know the intricacies about boxing, like being able to position yourself correctly or doing feints to kind of see how the other guy reacts. That way you can set a trap for him. Those particular guys don't know those things, so of course they're probably going to offer some sort of like out of the way opinion, like, oh, this is not very entertaining or something like that. But again, the person that's doing the broadcasting has to kind of know and understand why those tactics are like that.
Right.
Well, bro, the thing I'm gonna have to disagree with Brent Fox on is when I used to watch HBO Championship Boxing, bro. Jim Lampley and the crew, they knew what they were doing. Like if Floyd Mayweather fought, this is boring. Oscar De La Hoya do the exact same thing. Oh, this is beautiful boxing. So they just made it clear and obvious they were racist and they didn't like blacks. Especially Larry Merchant. That's the reason why him and Floyd couldn't get along. Now, don't get me wrong, outside the ring, I'm not the biggest Floyd fan, but I think he was justified in feeling the way he felt because, man, Larry Merchant was a straight up racist. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what, Coach? They would rather shit on their brand than to explain people of what's going on. Why Floyd is fighting that way. They rather shit on their brand. That's what I respect about MMA. And trust me, MMA do have some sleepers, but they're not gonna shit on their brand. They're gonna say, "Hey, this is what you're looking at. You got a wrestler versus somebody that's a kickboxer." You know what I'm saying? And the wrestler is taking the kickboxers down, and he's ground pounding them, and then they just fighting on the floor.
Yeah,
for the rest of
the crowd will boo because you got a good point, JB. Because the crowd will boo because they want the wrestler to stand up and try to dodge the kicks or the strikes. But the wrestler is smart. He know he doesn't have the skill to avoid all them kicks or strikes all night. So what the wrestler would do, they'll shoot for a double leg or single leg and take them down if it's open and keep them down. And like JB said, the announcers will explain that why that is. Go ahead.
And
You cutting out, Coach.
bro, JB brought up an excellent World Championship boxing. That was the end.
Yeah, you cutting in and out, man.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you, Brent.
Okay. And I'm definitely not putting words in another man's mouth. But I
Right.
think to
Can you hear
Coach's
me now, bro?
point,
Yeah,
okay.
Coach. Now I can't. Go ahead, Brent. Coach gonna come back.
I think to Coach's point, what he's saying is that or what I'm getting from that is, yeah, he's actually right. Guys like Jim Lampley and especially Larry Merchant will not care to explain the intricacies of what certain fighters are doing. Like there was a big problem with Bernard Hopkins and also Larry Merchant prior to Larry Merchant and Floyd having words. Um, Larry would intentionally degrade Bernard's style and say that that his style is quote unquote mundane or it's not a very entertaining style, things like that. And even though personally Bernard is not, such a great reference, professionally or actually fight wise, he was a very skilled defensive fighter. Very skilled defensive fighters, unfortunately, are not crowd pleasing. You gotta kind of understand what you're looking at to appreciate it. What
Right.
Bernard did best was actually just take your best weapon away from you and basically just kind of handicap you, and he would just pile up points.
Can you
Y'all
hear me
still
now,
with me?
bro?
Yes, sir. I can
Yeah,
hear
I
you.
can hear you, Coach.
Oh, okay. But what I was saying is JB brought up excellent point because basically Jim Lampley, Larry Merchant, they pretty much killed HBO Championship boxing. They try to pretty much downgrade the black fighters and elevate and exalt the Eastern European fighters instead of the black American fighters that fans want to see or would have been interested in had they pushed them. But no, they want to downgrade all the black fighters, even the Afro Latino fighters like Rigo, and he talked down like Brent Fox was saying, Bernard Hopkins and Floyd Mayweather Jr. Whereas someone like Oscar De La Hoya would do the exact same thing, and they would elevate and exalt anybody non-black. They would try to elevate and exalt like Arturo Gatti, and Mickey Ward, bro. Those
Mm-hmm.
were basically just rock'em sock'em robot type fights. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, Floyd dog walked Arturo Gatti. But y'all have all this
Mm.
praise for Arturo Gatti, and basically y'all putting Floyd down. And when Floyd left for Showtime, basically that was kind of like the beginning and the end for HBO Championship Boxing. But Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley, and I mean, don't get me wrong, they had over the years they would have, you know, George Foreman and other guys like Lennox Lewis and Roy Jones Jr. But for the most part, it wasn't those guys. It was the Larry Merchants, the Jim Lampleys, the Harold Lettermans that pretty much killed off HBO Championship Boxing.
Yes, sir. And remember, Larry Merchant also had a problem with Roy at one point, and that to me was mind-boggling.
Yeah, and you brought up a valid point too, Brent. I mean, the thing about it is, both Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley had an issue with Roy Jones Jr. And I'm like, bro, supposedly this is your friend. If you talking crazy about Roy Jones Jr. and he's supposedly friends with especially Jim Lampley, I'm like, bro, like I don't need those type of friends in my life. If anything, we acquaintances at work at best, but we're
Right.
definitely not friends.
And I think Shannon Sharp needs to understand that with Skip.
That's a perfect example.
Got his feelings hurt. Who you think that man jealous of you? He talk like he can do what you do.
Yeah, that is blatantly obvious, man. You know, even on that commercial, they had his little scrawny ass lifting weight. Like, what are you doing that for? You a 70-year-old journalist, motherfucker. How you ready to get your damn swole on now? No.
And bro, I mean, like he said, like I'm an effing Hall of Famer. You know, I won 2 Super Bowls. Like, bro, like what the like, and that's the thing about it. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, you know, you're not Tom Brady, but bro, I played in the NFL for multiple years. I'm a Hall of Fame. I won, you know, championships. Like, you know, it could have been me, because I'd have been like, man, what have you done? You know, except for be a second tier type NBA, not even NBA, high school basketball player. You a second tier starter. You know, so I think that's why he didn't like someone like Jalen Rose, who pretty much called him like, man, you were trash, water pistol Pete. Like, shut the hell up. You're in no position to criticize me. You haven't achieved a fraction of what I achieved. So just shut the hell up, you know?
Yeah, I don't even think he won any type of Pulitzer Prize or anything like that. Like anything comparable to what Shannon's done in football. I don't think Skip has done anything comparable to that in journalism. I mean, that's being swept under the rug. I could be wrong. I'm sure that Skip has had some awards. He would have to. But at the same time, I don't think that he was any type of Pulitzer Prize winner or anything like that.
Like 7A says all the time, you know, shout out to the general. Basically, Skip Bayless is a racist, whether people won't admit it or not, acknowledge it or not. I mean, you can have black friends and still be a racist individual.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To a certain degree, he has a white, not to a certain degree, he has a white supremacist mindset. You know, just because you like this one black athlete, you know, I don't know if Brent Fox might remember, you know, this might be a little bit before your time, but, you know, Cash Money used to have this CD with the Big Timers, and it had this interlude on it. And basically, he was saying that, hey, he loved, you know, he can't stand black people, but he loves the hot boys, you know. And basically, it was like, hey, I can't stand y'all N-words, but hey, I love those guys on Cash Money. So as long as you can entertain me, yeah, I love you, but I can't stand N-words, you know. And a lot of people like Skip Bayless have that mindset, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah, these announcers be getting ahead of you. They said, like Brandon Brazil said, the announcers think they are the show, and athletes are just for them to show how smart they are. Yeah. Well said. Who's that? What's that dude named that be in the ring that be interviewing the fighters after they fight?
You talking about Jim Gray?
Jim Gray.
He a butthole him.
Yeah, I mean, he told Gervonta Davis to take the towel off his head. Like, who you talk? If he want to have a towel on his head after he done fought, you know what I mean? Who the hell you think you are? And then what he said and what he did.
Cut out for a minute, bro.
You hear me now? You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. What I was saying was basically Jim Gray. You remember the Deontay Wilder versus Dominique Brazil fight?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was so disrespectful, bro.
Yes.
So disrespectful.
He basically disrespected Dominique Brazil while he was in the ring. Basically, he was asking Deontay Wilder, You know, basically, you need to stop fighting fighters of Dominique Brazil caliber and fight. You know,
Yeah.
but Dominique Brazil was his mandatory, and he was gonna fight Fury or Joshua after that.
Mm-hmm.
So he tried to say that
Basically, Dominic Brazil was trash. Pretty
yeah,
much what he was
and
saying.
that's and Brandon and Dominique Brazil did not want to interview, and you know, he tried to turn around and interview Dominique Brazil, and Dominique Brazil was like, "Man, F you."
And Brazil walked off on him.
Yeah, and I didn't blame him for that, bro. Because
Yeah.
that was so disrespectful.
You know who used to be real funny though? When Jim Gray used to try to interview him? Adrian Broner, bro.
Yep.
Woo. He used to be hilarious.
Now, not only him, what's my boy James Tony? He slapped the mic out of his hand. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah. That was hilarious too.
David Scott III, what's up, my brother? He said, salute Gerald 011 Green, Coach 67 Sports TV, and Brent Fox. Salute, my brother.
Salute David Scott III.
Salute, bro.
What's good? Living big with Big Reg. What's good? He said, what's good, everybody?
What's good, Big Reg? Thank you for coming in, man.
What's good with you, bro? We appreciate you.
I'm gonna rewatch. CC had a video. I caught the end of it. She's promoting the book, and Black is on there, so I'm gonna rewatch it because I only caught the end of it. I'm glad to see that sister and that brother.
Yeah, bro, you might have to send me that link because I didn't see that.
Yeah, you know, YouTube be tripping.
Yeah, I would just try to catch the replay on it. I think I'll put it on save later or something like that.
Yeah. And I know Nick Jan Box was live too, so I'll just go back and watch the replay.
Yeah, all the LDBC brothers and sisters. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate y'all.
Queens of the Ring saved for later too. So
yeah. I'll drop the chat. I'm gonna go back and watch it later. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask y'all a question after the show, man. Behind closed door. But
okay.
But y'all, we appreciate y'all for joining us this Sunday. You know, we just wanted to get in, you know, our thoughts of the draft. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all know y'all had probably better things to do, but we appreciate y'all so much. Coach 67 Sports TV, tell us where people can find you and listen to you. We can't hear you, Coach. Coach's on mute.
Well, hey, do you need us to stay online when you get ready to close down the show? So you can,
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha. And just so y'all know, y'all can find me in real life in Dallas, Texas. I'm not hard to find.
D-Town.
Social media wise, you can find me right here on the Southern Baller Show, either supporting or in the or on the panel.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you. JB having technical issues with the link for some reason.
Okay.
But I appreciate him from giving his perspective, man. Appreciate all y'all. Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, bro.
I was wrapping up. I was asking where people can meet you and reach you.
Yeah, you can, of course, like Brent Fox. Media, of course.
Yeah. Coach, you cut out again.
Oh, can you hear me now, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. You can catch me at Coach 67 Sports TV here on YouTube and on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. But like Brent Fox said, you can catch me in real life here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
All right. And please Tune in if you're a Louisiana sports fan. Please tune in to Bayou Sports Talk on his channel.
Yes, sir.
Him and his family be, chopping it up about sports. So please check that brother out. And of course, shout out to the mighty LDBC. We have Brandon Brazil in the chat. He's also a content creator. Please check that brother out. He has great content. Living with Big Reg. Also, check that brother out. Sip the Tally, 78 Sports TV. Hendo with his Road Podcast. All those brothers, please check them out. But with me saying that, y'all have a blessed Sunday. Be safe out here. And this is another installment of the Southern Baller Show.
Peace
Love
and
y'all.
blessings, everyone. Peace and blessings.
Peace.
Hey,